Hello! Today we are writing linear equations from tables. We have already learned how to write them from a graph and from a situation. Now we're going to focus on a table. One way is to take that information from the table and place it in a graph and then use that information to write an equation. So when we're doing that, we're taking the information that is given to us just numerically, and we're putting in something that's a little more visual. So we're going to take these ordered pairs and we're going to graph them in this graph. And so our first one is at 0, 82. And I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit easier to see. And so our first ordered pair is at 0, 82. And when I look at the graph, I see that they're going up by 10, so units of 10. So is this graph going to be accurate? No, it's definitely not going to be accurate, but we're going to get it as close as possible. Okay, so at 0, 82, I'm going to come up here at 82. It's about there. And then 180, 278, so down just a little bit. 376, down just a little bit from that. 474, almost in the middle, and 572, just a little bit there. And then we're going to draw our line. And you'll notice that when I draw my line, it's not going to be, everything's not going to be exactly on the line, but that's because in cases like this, it is not going to be exact. Now we're going to take and we're going to use 2 points on that graph, and we plotted these points that were up here so I can use these points to determine what my slope is. And so I picked these two, and so I'm going to take 82 minus 80, and that's going to give me 2, and then I'm going to take 0 minus 1. 0 minus 1, and that's going to give me negative 1. And so my slope is going to be negative 2. So there's my slope, negative 2. And now I need to find out what my y-intercept is. And I did notice that it's crossing right here, and we got that point right here. So this point right there is my y-intercept. So I know that my b is going to be 82. Now I can take this information and I can write my equation. So it's going to be y equals, my slope is negative 2, x, and then it's plus 82 because that's a positive 82. And there's my equation using this table and this graph. The Your Turn 1 says the table shows the volume of water released by Hoover Dam over a certain period of time. Graph the data and find the slope and y-intercept from the graph. Then write the equation for the graph in slope-intercept form. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to graph the points. And I notice these are going up by 50,000. So at 5 seconds, it's at 75,000 cubic meters. So 75 cubic meters would be about halfway here. So about there. And then at 10 seconds, it's at 150,000, which would be about there. And then at 15 seconds, it's 225,000. So a little bit above the 20,000 or 200,000 line. And then at 20 seconds, we have 300,000. So at 20 seconds, we have 300,000. And now that we've done that, we can take and we can draw our line. So if we draw our line through those points, what do you notice about this line? Or this graph? Right, it's proportional, isn't it? So that means that my y-intercept is going to be at 0. So my y-intercept, let's put it over here. So my y-intercept is going to be at 0. So now we have to find our slope. So we could take any 2 points on this line and we can use that to find our slope. I like, let's change color here. I like this one and this one. And this one's at 10 seconds and 150,000. And this one's at 20 seconds and 300,000. So I'm going to use that information. So I'm going to take my 300,000 minus my 150,000. So 300,000 minus my 150,000 over my 10 seconds and 20. So 20 minus 10. So that's 10 at the bottom, and that's 150,000 above. And we can simplify that down to 15,000 per second. So our slope is 15,000. So knowing that our slope is 15,000 and we have no y-intercept, my equation is going to be 15,000 x. So 15,000 cubic meters per second will tell me how much water is released from Hoover Dam. We can just, if we don't have a graph and we only have a table, we can still graph or come up with our equation. Example 2, Elizabeth's cell phone plan lets her choose how many minutes are included each month. The table shows the plan's monthly costs y for a given number of included minutes x. Write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. And remember, when we're writing it in slope-intercept form, we need to find the slope and we need to find the y-intercept. All right, so we have all these. We can pick any two to find our slope. Our y's are the 20 and 14, so 20 minus 14, and 200 minus 100. And that's going to give us 6 over 100. And we can simplify that down to a decimal of 0.06. Okay? Our y-intercept, there's 2 ways we can do this. One is I happen to notice that these are going down by 100, and 100 minus 100 is 0, so minus 100. And these are going down by 6, so 14 minus 6 is 8. And so that's telling me that my y-intercept is at 8. Another way we can do that is to take any of these points. Let's take this one here. My y is 20. My x is 200. When I do this, 600ths times 200 is 12. And then I can subtract 12 from both sides. And that gives me 8. So see here I have the same. Doesn't matter which way you go, as long as you can find the y-intercept. So therefore, when I'm writing my equation, my slope is 0.06. My y-intercept is at 8. And there is my equation. Your turn number 4. A salesperson receives a weekly salary plus a commission for each computer sold. The table shows the total pay, P, and the number of computers sold. Write an equation in the slope-intercept form to represent this situation. So the first thing we want to do is to find the slope. You can use any 2 to find your slope. Doesn't matter which order of pairs you use. Find your slope first. And now find your y-intercept. and then put it in your slope-intercept form. Once you've done your calculations, you should have found that the slope is 75 and that the y-intercept is 250. So that makes your equation y equals 75x plus 250. Okay, look at number 5. To rent a van, a moving company charges $40 plus 50 cents per mile. The table shows the total cost C and the number of miles driven D. Write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. So again, you're going to find your slope, and then you're going to find your y-intercept, and then you're going to write your equation in slope-intercept form. Okay? Your slope should have been 1/2. Your y-intercept should be 40, and therefore your equation would be y equals 1/2 x plus 40. Now, if you chose to write 1/2 as 0.5 and then get the equation y equals 0.5 x plus 40, that is also correct. Okay? If you have any questions, please make sure that you talk to your teacher. Go ahead and work on the next practice problem, and good luck.